Hey, welcome back, nerds. So we're on episode 6 of our Tech Tuesdays.
Tuesdays.
We're doing it for the people this time.
For the people.
Well, as we always do.
Amen, amen.
Mm-hmm.
What's up, Tim? We've got a plethora. That's a big word. A plethora of comments to get into. I'm really excited with how many people gave encouraging feedback, ways that we can improve, because obviously we're always looking to change some things, make things better. That's kind of a big part of what makes aces is we allow for that. So I'm actually, even though we got quite a bit of response, I think it's just even better to see how many people are saying, wow, great job, guys. Keep it up. Do this. Try this. Maybe look into this. I'm loving it. So,
like driving Ford builds. No,
well,
Benz.
thank you.
Driving Ford builds. Driving Ford builds. That guy, fantastic. He has a kill shot unit on a buddy's car. He does a nice video on it. Ran into a thing or two. Help him get sorted out. There's a lot going on, but it's stuff like that kind of feedback and those things that really like help out. And this guy is the one that recommended these mics. So
thank you very much.
Yeah, he knows how to make a good video. Go check out his channel. He's a big smarty pants. He makes good videos.
So Dan Archer 6356 for question 1 says, I grabbed the Killshot top end kit during the sale. With this setup, I have to use an adapter for my Dodge Thermoquad intake. Should I port the adapter to match the Killshot gasket? Also, you mentioned in your episode that you don't make a distributor for the 70s, which confuses me because I just bought one from you. My bad. Thanks, and I'll definitely be following your Tech Tuesdays now that your sound is not crap.
So. Well, the better sound does help, and knowing our 10,000 different distributors we offer and don't offer would be really good for our sales and marketing department. But
yeah,
I got to be honest. I work in tech. I didn't even know.
Yeah,
I'd have to go and look at the thing to every time somebody's like, I got a Ford 360 or an FE or something like that. Do you make it? I'm like, give me a second. I'll have to go look that up because small block Chevy, yeah, small block Ford, yep, sure enough.
Yeah.
All the other 10,000 variants, I don't know.
I will say the Mopar distributors don't sell as much as like the small block Chevy, small block Ford distributors. So it's good to see that people are still out there doing that.
You got to look at the people who do Mopar stuff are like the hardcore muscle cars guys that they've got some money. Yeah. Mopar equals money. If you got Mopar money, you probably got a pretty nice boat too. I got to be honest. So
fair enough.
This is the thing. Yeah. So, anyways, the Thermoquad adapter, that's cool. You can port it if you like, but it's going to come down to how many horsepowers are you putting down, how much airflow do you need? Because, I mean, if it's going to make it turbulent, yeah, you can smooth out the edges. It's never a bad thing to do. I do it because, well, I just, I like my gaskets to match. So, yeah, you could do that if you want to go through the extra steps. It shouldn't be a massive deal. The gasket that comes with a kill shot, I am a fan / not a fan of that thing sometimes, depending on the intake it's going on. If you're using an adapter, not a big problem. But if you have an aftermarket intake with that has like the thin walls right around where the 4150 style flange is, sometimes you can end up with a vacuum leak there. I did some silly video with this massive camper and did a whole thing and had a vacuum leak. I might have covered it in the video, and it was actually because the aftermarket intake I was using from a competitor.
Rip.
Make it hot. Make it hot. 4699. Nice to see a little soundproofing. Yep, really? That's nice to hear. A lot, yeah. I don't like hearing myself that much, but when I'm talking and I can hear it with that little bit of delay, it drives me insane because it makes me stumble my words.
Yep.
Question. I thought I could use my stock air cleaner, but I'd have to really cut into it, so on and so forth, trying to dodge the AN connections, basically. That's pretty common. Aftermarket EFI, not everybody makes an air cleaner for it. Nobody makes an air cleaner base for ours, but it is something that I have been pestering the upper echelon of engineers about for making one for our stuff. They said, not a big deal, and I'm like, well, when can we have it? So still working on that. One of the things I use, because you got a Cal induction hood setup, so space is definitely an issue. But I used a really low profile, I think Edelbrock makes this little triangular air filter thing. There's a bunch of knockoff versions of it too. I use those because they're less than $40 and they work really good, but they don't look super, super attractive, but they do a good job. And they clear the linkage and they clear the connections and all that jazz. But I've had a few people use some real special 90-degree fittings as well, but they don't give you that much more clearance. But yeah, you should probably see one of those from us in the future of actual Aces air cleaner.
Yeah.
So probably a 14-inch or a 10-inch round or something like that, something that's actually going to work well with the top-end design of our actual units itself.
How much would you say, room-wise, would be something that people should be looking for when they're looking at getting a kill shot, Royal Flush system, or Deuces Wild? I guess people put air cleaners on those too.
Yeah, it's really just where the shape of the fuel bowls itself and the fuel connections and the throttle linkage kind of sticks up a bit too. So depending on what you're going on there, I've had a few customers trim that off.
Okay.
It's yours if you want to do that. I mean, don't expect me to warranty the linkage, but I can. If I ever had to replace a throttle body and they had custom linkage on there, I'd at least swap it. Well, we get the question a bunch.
Well, I've actually gotten most of, at least when it comes to external things that we add to our systems, the most questions that I get are about either the air cleaner or about digital dashes or what we can do for factory gauges or anything like that. So, and we covered that in the last video. So,
got an email about that this morning too.
Yeah. So, out of the things to note are, one, that we're working on both of those things. And probably can't get here soon enough. But two, it's just interesting that is a very common thing that people are running into.
Yeah.
Why not? How about you make your own air cleaner?
I can. It'd be out of carbon fiber because.
Really?
Well,
I'd actually be down for that.
Yeah, I could actually make a really legit carbon fiber air cleaner for a 14-inch round drop base, beautiful piece of equipment. But you got to look at how much available time do I have? Because I'd have to make the mold and the plug and all that.
You're always talking about how you need more time.
I need another technician.
I don't think you need more time. I think honestly you need is less sleep. I think the saying is if you can sleep when you're dead. I think is kind of how that goes.
Sleep is for humans.
All right, cool. We'll move on to question 3. We're down here. All right, so Rusty Dreams, but with a Z at the end. That's kind of cool.
He has 2 questions.
He has 2 questions.
We'll let him have it.
1, can I deadhead my fuel system to the throttle body?
Mm-hmm.
We didn't even have to, should I even read I'll read the rest of it just for the heck of it. Example, tank to pump, pump to filter, filter to pressure regulator with return line to the tank, or do I just use the diagram in the instruction book? I actually, to be fair, I get a lot of questions about the fuel delivery system. And the reason is because our diagram has that regulator on the return line coming off the throttle body. Which I know we have that for a couple of reasons, to prevent vapor lock issues, to prevent it's more efficient that way. But I do think it's interesting how so many people will call in and say this has to be wrong because we have that regulator coming off that return line.
No, it's the most common way to hook up a fuel system. Regulators run on the return side a whole lot. The other variation is bypass return, where the pump is gravity fed from the tank and the pump feeds the regulator, and then there's a return off the regulator to the tank for any excess pressure and flow and all that. And then there's another one that branches off and deadheads right into the throttle body or the fuel rails. Yeah. So that's like a GM setup right there, like the bypass return fuel filter, like the Corvette style regulator filters. They're bypass return style, but they're preset at 58 pounds. But yeah, there's like a few different ways to hook that up. Bypass return being the deadhead style, which I like. Then there's the return style, which goes through the pump and filters through the throttle body or fuel rails back to the regulator, then the tank. Most common style, good for high horsepower applications, all that stuff. But that's like the most common one. That's why we put the diagram in the book. And I do get angry customers that complain that there's not 19 different variations of fuel systems in the book, but we can't make a 300-page book because the cost is high, and most people kind of throw the book away, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And they still call with the questions that's in the book.
Right.
Which
it's neither here nor there.
It kind of tickles me.
I've done the same thing. We've all built that table, and they come with the little instruction manual, and you're like, I know how to put together a table.
Well,
but this isn't a table, which is your whole point.
When you're doing a microwave pizza and you threw the box away and then you dig the box back out of the garbage to read, yes, 10 to 13 minutes. Mm-hmm. Same thing. It's like, oh, this is the fuel system diagram.
Yeah, exactly.
But
that was actually a really good analogy there. You do analogies too? What don't you do? No, stop.
Question four. Rusty Dreams.
Again.
Question. I'm installing a new fuel pump for my kill shot install. Yeah, that's cool. Instruction manual reads minimum of 42 to 48 psi. Is there a maximum pressure?
1,000.
No. The maximum pressure, I wouldn't go past 58 or 60 or so. Yeah. Mainly because if you run a whole bunch of pressure, the injectors are going to have a hard time keeping up because of the injector open time, like how the minimum amount of time they can open up is going to be beyond its threshold, and you end up with it really rich with a lot of pressure. And you get too much pressure, it'll mechanically lock the injector shut. So that's like a whole other risk factor as well. I wouldn't go much over 60-something pounds. I really wouldn't. I got a customer that's pretty close to 100 pounds right now, and well, gee golly, there's some problems with his running conditions. But his tuner says it's cool. I beg to differ. But I just give the best information I can. Super nice folks, man. I mean, it's just one of those things that, I would rather see all systems run at 43.5 PSI because a lot of fuel injectors are rated for that. And if you need to up the pressure, or if your system's already at a higher pressure, being 4 bars, 400 kPa, 58.5 PSI, then that's fine to do too, because, we can easily dial a system in to do that. Yeah. It's just when you really get up there into pressure, you start running into some real wonky stuff. Odd running conditions, injector problems, all that stuff.
And it's not so much, I think what people might be getting into, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's the hardware of the system is capable of running at 100 PSI. Not the injectors are not capable of doing that, but you could in theory, and I guess that's what people look at and they go, "Oh yeah, you can run 100 PSI." So I guess in theory, technically, you could. If you had the right injectors, if you set everything up correctly, you could, in theory, do that. But like you said, that sweet spot and what those 100-pound-an-hour injectors are built for, rated for, that 43.5, 45 PSI, that window is really what you're shooting for.
Yeah, more is not better when it comes to that. Yeah. Let's see, drag brick. I was wondering if it's possible to use one of the outputs as a PWM control on the plug-and-play LS Jackpot kit. Drive-by cable, no trans control. So, you know what PWM means?
Power with men.
No.
I'm so sorry.
Pulse width modulation. So pulse width modulation is a modulated ground trigger.
For the injectors?
They're on a type of pulse width, yeah.
Okay.
No, so this right here, if you're running a solenoid of some kind, like a boost control solenoid or something like that.
Explain that to me in English.
So
somebody who majored in marketing and not electrical engineering or aerospace engineering.
So solenoid's an electromechanical device when applied power to. There's a little ferrous core that moves in and out.
Okay.
Allowing flow control or whatever you're doing with it. There's 1,000 things solenoids do.
Yeah.
Injectors are solenoids.
Okay.
Right. For instance. And they have a little pencil in the middle that moves in and out, and add a pulse width, pulse width modulation.
Okay.
So this is usually done on the ground side of something. So it'll have constant power in, and then it'll trigger through the ground side. And it's really neat when you put it in a waveform, because you can actually like see anyways. But this will be more in depth. I'm probably gonna have to do a video separately just on pulse width modulation. But no, we don't have programmable pulse width modulated outputs with our system just yet. When we do a input and output module that's going to be high-speed CAN based, in the future there will be some PWM outputs. There will be some resistance-based inputs and frequency inputs and a few things like that. But yeah, we don't have those on there yet, but we are planning for a few for very specific reasons. Nothing I can get into, but it is exciting.
It's very ominous. Very specific reasons.
Well, you see, we're making plans towards what is the next generation of our ECUs going to look like, and what are they going to do?
Yep. Do
we keep the original ones and keep the price down, or do we make a big whopper and charge a bunch? So, probably do a little bit of both.
I would lean towards the latter, the first one.
Well, we could do a next generation thing, but it's going to have all kinds of weird stuff going on, including some customizable I/O stuff. And then up front, our customizable I/O, pulse width modulation, all that jazz, is going to be kind of in a little CAN controller.
Yeah. We should do a poll, like some kind of like online poll for something like that. That'd be cool. Hey everyone, thanks again so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button below. If you have more questions about any Aces EFI product, please leave a comment down below. If you're curious about purchasing something in the future and want to just find out more about it, again, please leave your comments below. We're also putting in the descriptions of these videos just timestamps. If you're not interested in watching the whole bits of all these videos and you want certain questions answered, you can fast forward to those as well. And yeah, if you see Ace's Tech Tuesday stuff on other social media platforms, feel free to give it a like and share some love there. Ask any questions you'd like to there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, to wrap this up, if we get 500 likes, I will make Ben actually beatbox for you. So please, I want to see this.
I never even. We're just doing this now. We're just saying this. 500 likes.
No, we're just driving the bus, bro.
It just cuts. It cuts right there. We don't even need to do anything else. See you next time.